Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the channel. I want you to do me a quick favor. Just listen closely for a second. Imagine you can feel this low, vibrating rumble all around you. What you're experiencing right now, it's way more than just noise. It's energy. It's literally this unseen force interacting with absolutely everything in existence.
Now, if you caught our last explainer, you know we covered some pretty mind-bending concepts. We talked about the hidden mechanics of creation, those weird time slips, shifting dimensions, and that super unsettling sensation of déjà vu. We were essentially pulling back the curtain on the unseen structure of reality. But today, we're taking it a step further. We're asking, is our reality actually built on a hidden vibration?
So, here's our roadmap for today. First up, we'll look at the cosmic pulse, then programmed worship, followed by the manipulation of sound, and finally, how to protect your attention.
All right, Chapter 1, the cosmic pulse and the vibration of the universe.
You know, when we hear the word sound, our minds usually just jump straight to a musical note or somebody's voice, right? But the source text we're looking at defines this cosmic pulse as the foundational energy of the universe itself. It connects to this incredibly profound belief that creation actually began with a divine command, a spoken word. So sound isn't just audio, it's this heavy, resonating pulse that has the potential to actually shape, form, or even alter physical matter. Crazy, right?
The thing is, we're totally limited by our biology. As the text clearly states, quote, just because we cannot hear a frequency does not mean it is absent. It's kind of like a dog whistle. You blow it, you hear absolutely nothing, but an animal reacts instantly. The frequency is 100% real. You just lack the hardware to detect it. These invisible vibrations are constantly pulsing around us, affecting our daily reality, even if we're completely oblivious to them. And that brings us to a really chilling thought. If sound and frequency are literally the building blocks of reality, what happens when this cosmic power is stripped of its harmony? Like, what happens when it isn't being used for healing or order, but instead, it gets weaponized by forces who actually understand its hidden language? Honestly, what happens when sound is used for deception and control?
That brings us to Chapter 2, Programmed Worshipping and Ancient Illusions. I want you to notice the psychological descent from truth to false worship here. It rarely ever started with open rebellion. Usually, it was just a simple fascination with nature. But then, say, a massive storm hits, thunder is shaking the sky, and that fascination quickly morphs into a deep, primal fear of the elements. Instead of recognizing those natural events as signs of divine order, panicked societies started creating rituals to appease the storms, and ultimately pure worship completely decayed into empty imitation. The source actually gives us a perfect historical example of this, the worship of Baal. Now, Baal was an ancient figure heavily associated with storms, thick clouds, and the roar of thunder. Entire societies were influenced through myth and sheer awe to worship this figure. They became so overwhelmed by the raw power of the weather that they started attaching divine power to the created things themselves. They completely confused the creation for the creator and turned their backs on Allah, who is the true source and master of all those natural forces.
And here's the kicker. This confusion was methodically engineered. Think about the tools used: fear of natural power, repetitive rhythms, the drawing of symbols, introducing music, and performing rituals. Satan and his followers used these exact tools to slowly, subtly redirect human attention away from divine truth. They essentially took the pure urge for remembrance and twisted it into artificial programming, because if you can control the rhythm and control the ritual, you control the people.
Moving on to Chapter 3, the manipulation of sound and its invisible influence.
Over time, the way sound is used for influence has evolved drastically. Back in ancient times, armies would use the heavy, pounding beat of war drums to instill terror. Then, kings used booming announcements to project authority. In trade, markets weaponized chaotic noise to attract buyers. Fast forward to modern media, and you have these sweeping cinematic scores designed to manipulate exactly how you feel. And today, it's the sharp, sudden ping of an app notification mathematically engineered to lock your attention onto a screen.
And the reason this works so incredibly well is because sound completely bypasses your logic and enters directly into your emotion. Sound doesn't argue with you. It doesn't present facts or debate. Certain frequencies and rhythms can instantly make you calm, induce major anxiety, create fear, or even bring you to tears. And all of that happens without a single logical point ever being made.
So we're basically facing a direct parallel here. On one side, you have ancient programmed worship, idols made of stone, grand temples, being terrified of thunder.
And on the other side, we have our invisible modern idols. Today, the altars look a lot more like viral trends, glowing screens, and just the unending constant noise of digital media. The mechanism of control is exactly the same. It's literally just the technology that's changed. Which forces us to ask a pretty uncomfortable question. Who is actually controlling the sound around us, and what is it programming inside of us? Modern technology has this unprecedented ability to impose desires and exert control without us even realizing it's happening. When you just blindly consume audio and media without any sort of filter, you are handing over the keys. You're allowing someone else to program your emotional and spiritual state. Which leads us to our final chapter, protecting your attention as the final defense.
You see, the battle for the human being doesn't always kick off with some grand, explosive external war. Actually, it usually begins with something incredibly subtle, a whisper, a really catchy rhythm, a repeated message just scrolling infinitely on your feed. But left unchecked, that continuous whisper slowly becomes a direction. You start walking down a path you never consciously chose for yourself, and eventually that direction becomes your destiny.
So I want you to really ask yourself, what are you listening to? Every single day, every hour. And more importantly, what is it doing to your heart? What is it doing to your thoughts? Is the media you're consuming bringing you closer to clarity and truth? Or is it pulling you deeper into a state of artificial confusion and spiritual numbness?
We have to protect our ears, protect your attention, and protect your heart. The universe is not silent, guys, and the forces vying for your attention are very, very real. We need to become highly conscious of the frequencies we allow into our lives and purposefully return to the sound that brings true peace, true order, and truth. And that is the remembrance of Allah.
Jazakallah khair for watching, everyone. If this explainer helped you understand the hidden role of sound, vibration, and this unseen battle for your spiritual awareness, please do me a favor and share this with someone who really needs to hear it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next explainer. Keep seeking the truth out there. Until the next chapter,